Hey, what's up guys? Steve here again with another tutorial for Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020. Now, for all of you guys that are having issues or have had issues in the past, even as an alpha tester and beta tester, one of the issues that I always found was that the controls were extremely sensitive. They really didn't have much control over the curves and things like that. And even when I watched a couple of tutorials on how to set up the hardware to help the plane fly in the way it's supposed to fly, I still had issues with sensitivity, trying to keep in the center line. I'm talking about even flying, just trying to, bring the plane up a little bit. If I move it more than half an inch, thing's gonna skyrocket, and I just had nothing but major issues. Now, I've used SPAD.next in the past, and the problem with SPAD.next is that it got a little confusing after time. Sometimes it didn't work correctly, sometimes it did. I've used SPAD.next even with FSX. And I even have it here now when I was trying to get all the hardware that I had from Logitech, where Logitech just decided not to support its hardware that it sells for Microsoft Flight Simulator, knowing that this simulator was going to come out and it was going to be a big simulator. You would have thought that they would have been on top of that. I've read some comments of people writing to them asking them when they're going to create the drivers for their hardware, and they basically said, one, they don't know if they even going to make any drivers for it. So he said, she said. Anyway, what I did find was this application called LorbyAxisAndOhs, if I say that correctly. When I first used this, I was a little confused, and then I actually started looking at the manual and a couple of videos from their website, and it kind of got a good understanding. One of the reasons I started this tutorial is because when I did install this and I did everything that I needed to do to get all the hardware working correctly, I made another video because I was having issues where whenever I was trying to control something specific, like the ailerons or the elevator, it did some type of a weird shaking effect. And after reading some documentation here, I found out that you should delete the assignment basically saved within the simulator. Now, whether you know this already, not a lot of people are going to know it. All right, so as soon as I deleted the assignment for the simulator itself, everything worked flawlessly. And you're going to open it up, you're going to install it, and you're going to come out with this right here. Okay, now for right now, it's looking, you can, once you have you can actually connect it or have it connect automatically. When you have it connected automatically, you start this up, you start up the simulator, and as soon as it sees the simulator, it's gonna wait for you to load a plane, and then once you load that plane, it's gonna put that information for that plane in here. Now, generically, it has the radio stack, the communication stack, and all that from Logitech, the hardware itself. I'll put a picture up on here so that you guys can actually see what I'm talking about. But if you come over here to tools, it's going to be the SATEC panels. All right, if for whatever reason you start this up and you have no control over your SATEC panels, come over here to tools and activate enable SATEC panels over here, and everything should start working. You don't really need to do anything with this. It automatically knows that, hey, you have this SATEC panel and this button does this. That's as far as I've gotten to it. I don't think you have any control of how to set any of those, at least not right now. But yeah, it just works right out of the box once this is enabled. Now, from what I've seen is that obviously the aircraft that you're in, if it doesn't have a specific hardware piece that you have, it's not going to work. It's not like an X-plane where you can have all these hardware pieces work for any aircraft that you're in, whether it has that specific thing or not. Here it doesn't. If it doesn't have it in the aircraft, I don't believe that it's going to work for you here. Okay, so now that that's up and running, we're going to actually start the simulator up, and then you're going to see what populates here. Now the thing is that I don't believe you're going to have anything here to start. All right, it's going to be blank. I can't remember how it was before, but I believe it was just blank. I started doing my own assignments for all the controllers and things like that, and I'm going to walk you through everything so that you can have an idea what you need to do. I've looked for videos about this, and the only thing I can actually find is from the developer, who has a quick video kind of explaining, just showing you how he's setting things up. But I wanted to make, you know, a video with explanations and what you need to do and how you need to get there and what you need to download, so on and so on. As I said before, whenever I come into a problem where I can't find something, I just make it. All right, so here we go. We're gonna start up simulator right here. And obviously, through the wonders of editing, you're not gonna have to sit there and wait for this to come up. Okay guys, so here we are, and we have the simulator started. Now what I'm gonna do over here is we're gonna bring in, let's see if we can have to start this again. We're gonna bring this over here, right? And as you could see, everything that I assigned populated. What is that right there? Okay, that's the pedals. Okay, I'm gonna show you how to assign these here, right? So we have my ailerons, my axis throttle, we got your brake left, brake right, elevator, mixture, and the rudder. And these are for assigned buttons for elevator trim, for my Thrustmaster over here, the T1600M, and then the parking brakes. And I was going to add some more, but I'm waiting. One of the recent things that I just realized by reading the manual, actually, you know, manual's actually pretty good sometimes. I was trying to figure out how to, I kept seeing a curve here, but I didn't know how to change this or where I needed to go. And the funny thing is that all you got to do is put your mouse pointer right here, and you either scroll down or scroll up on your mouse, and that's what changes it. All right. So I'm going to show you that as soon as this is done. So let's see here. We're gonna delete this axis, the throttle, right? So that I can show you how to put this in here. So we'll delete this. Okay, so the first thing you want to do is, obviously, if you are running the simulator, you're going to need to go into your options, all right? And when you go into options, go into your controls, what you're going to need to do is, because I deleted this input already, I'm not going to be able to find it by searching by moving the throttle itself. It's not going to find it. So what we're going to do here, let's see here. We're going to go into all, and we're going to type in throttle. You're not going to need to do this if you haven't deleted this yet, all right? This is going to be your throttle axis, okay? When you do this for the first time, you're going to have an assignment on your throttle for the throttle axis, all right? Depending on if the, oh, no wonder I'm on the wrong thing here. No wonder I can't find it. Let me see if I can get that to work again. All right, so it is. So it does, even though it doesn't have anything assigned to it, it actually brings it up. Okay, so this is the throttle axis here. As I said before, if you didn't delete this already, which I'm sure if you're watching this video you haven't, you're going to have an assignment here for whatever throttle you're using. Okay, what you're going to do is you're going to come in here and you're going to have that input over here. You're going to come over here, you're going to clear that input, and you're going to validate it. Now what I've noticed is sometimes you need to do it twice. You'll do it, it'll still show up, you come back in here again, you clear it out, and you validate it. Now the reason why you want to do that is because, as I said before, if you have this assigned in the simulator itself and then you assign it within the program, within this right here, it's going to have a conflict, and you're going to have this weird thing where it's going to look like this. It's going to do this. It's not going to do it on here, but it's going to do it within the simulator's controls themselves. You're going to see your controls shaking every time you try to move it. And let me tell you something, that translates to the aircraft itself, because I went to take off and I was like, what the hell is going on with this plane? It was like on a rinse cycle of a dryer or something. And then I read the manual, and it basically states to delete the hardware that you have assigned within the simulator, and then you should be fine. And it is, it works out well. After you do that, now you can either do this first or you could do it after, it's up to you. You're going to come over here, right? And you're going to say, all right, I want to add a new assignment. So you click on this button. You're going to get this over here. Come over here. Once this is here, move what you want, and it automatically tells you the name and what it is. All right, if it has the information for the hardware that you have, I'm sure that it's going to have that information right in here. So now that you know that it goes in there, the next thing you're going to want to do is you're going to select what the simulator event is going to be. Obviously, you know that it is the throttle, and you're going to go to throttle set 1. All right, I'm sure it'll be different if you have 2 throttles, but you're going to set this one for 1 here. Okay, and then you're gonna hit add. And now, as you can see, you have the throttle. Now, what you need to do though is, I believe this needs to be reversed. So you come over here, we'll move this to another screen if you have. All right, don't forget to hit apply. Go back, go back. Actually, you know, we need to, I never even set up a flight, so let's do this real quick. We're gonna come over here. We got the Cessna in there. No, it's right here. We'll set this as the departure. Set as departure, and we'll just fly real quick. We'll let this load up. All right, so we're gonna hit fly now. And then if we come down here to the throttle, let's come over here. Okay, so now it's backwards. See how it's a little backwards? We're gonna have to change this around. So one of the things you want to do here first is make sure you have this set. You're gonna come over here, and with the mouse wheel, if you move the mouse wheel, you'll be able to move the arrow. All right, now for some reason it goes past and I can't get any. This is as far as I can go. But over here, as you can see, is I can control it to move it right underneath there, above it, or excuse me, to the left or the right of it, and that should be it right there. Now, as I see this here, I need to have this reversed. I'll come over here, and there we go. Everything is perfect. Okay, so now that you can see that the throttle goes in the right direction now. Okay, going back, it goes back. I go forward, it goes forward. So we're good with that. Now, for the curves, with using these curves had actually really helped me out a lot. So we're going to bring it 2 back. So that's 1, 2 back. Now it's hard to see here because of the fact that you can't see how I'm moving my controller. But moving this back 2 times, you got 1, 2. Remember, putting your mouse button there, or putting your pointer there, and then moving back twice. Each click will move it back 1 time, or forward 1 time with your mouse button. That's if your mouse button is working correctly. If it's not, yeah, get a new mouse. But anyway, moving this back obviously changes the curve, and you have more control over your hardware, which is great because of the fact that with the rudder, the rudder themselves, I was having nothing but issues. It was very, very, very sensitive, and trying to stay in the middle while landing with that sensitivity was just insane. It really was. Those things right there are definitely going to help you out. Where did it go? You can also assign your buttons, and it basically works the same way. You add one, okay? Always comes to the next screen. You add one, you come over here, you basically assign the button you want. Let's see if I don't know, there it is. You assign the button you want, and then you come over here, and it's either going to be a down event or an up event, depending on the type of button you have. And then what you do is you come over here and you select what it is that you're trying to control. Right, the whole list is in here. As long as you know what the name is that you're trying to control, this is going to work for you. All right, and that's basically it. There's nothing else to it. Once you get those steps down, you play around with it a little bit. Obviously, if you know the sensitivity on your rudder is too much, then you bring the sensitivity down with the curve. If it's not enough, you bring the sensitivity up on the curve until it's adjusted to the way you like. You can, like I said, add assigned buttons over here, and anything to do with an access you can add on this side. That's basically it. This should help you out. And let me tell you, I can now fly I can fly these planes now. You know, I was having major issues, on top of the fact that, you know, since I didn't have my Logitech panels here, trying to get the autopilot button configured without having to hit a key, because God knows there's 1,000 different key combinations you need to use for this simulator. I've seen the pages, and it's just insane. There's no way you can remember all that. I just rather use a dedicated button, especially if I have the hardware that's supposed to be dedicated for those types of inputs. And it's just really nice to know that this works now. Now, I believe this is a demo here, and from what I've read, they are considering making this a payware, I'll absolutely pay for it because it's definitely worth it. And I think it's a shame that Logitech still hasn't come out with the drivers for this hardware yet. It's a shame, knowing that this thing was coming out. Obviously, they have the internet and news just like everybody else does, and they should have known that this was going to come out and should have had steps to get those drivers out. But at least now we know there's something that we can use. If you want to use Bad Next, when I was using it for FSX, it was just a pain in the ass for me, and you would have to download something that somebody else made, and maybe those buttons didn't work correctly, and then you needed to change things around. It was just too much of a headache. This is just very, very simple. Axis that you want, control, set it up. Buttons that you want, set it up, and you're good. All right? If you guys got any questions, please let me know. I'm not sure how detailed I was in this video, but if I missed something, ask me and I'll answer you. Talk to you guys later. Take care.